mentol jimat tenaga untuk lebih jimat. Satu lagi idea bernas untuk anda.
Coming to you live from Angkasa Puri, Kuala Lumpur, I'm Muhammad Amin, and this is Updates at Noon. Well, making the headlines today, MOH to improve health incentive for blood donors. Well, more than 120 dead in Indonesian football stampede. Well, hello and good afternoon. Well, Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Aziza Amina Maimuna Skandaria has urged the government to set up a training centre related to taking care of dementia patients. Well, Her Majesty said special training for caregivers of dementia patients should be carried out since there are many senior citizens suffering from dementia who require proper care.
Saya ingat King and Queen Sweden berangkat datang ke Malaysia dan dia minta saya bawa dia ke Melaka. Lepas tu Queen tu bercerita kat saya, dia kata mak dia dementia. Dia tubuhkan satu persatuan dementia di Sweden untuk train untuk mengajar doktor-doktor dan nurse-nurse macam mana untuk menjaga penyakit orang-orang tua kita yang sudah kena dementia.
Well, Tunku Haja Aziza also advised the public, especially senior citizens, to stay active through various beneficial activities, such as joining volunteer programs in a bid to avoid suffering from dementia. Well, the Ministry of Health will, from time to time, improve the provision of incentives to blood donors. Well, according to its Minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, the incentives would strictly be related to healthcare services and not cash.
Tapi insentif ni adalah insentif yang berkait dengan perkhidmatan kesihatan. Sebagai contoh, insentif untuk mendapat rawatan di ward kelas 2 ataupun mendapat rawatan tertentu pada secara diberikan keutamaan dan sebagainya. Kita tidak bercadang untuk memberi insentif tunai sebab itu mungkin bukan insentif yang kita rasa satu insentif yang bersesuaian dengan ukra untuk menyumbang organ ataupun untuk donor darah.
Well, Khairi further said the incentives might even be expanded not only in terms of medical treatment, but to include preventive healthcare. On another note, the health minister said the addition of the blood donation card as a new feature in the My Sejahtera application had received a good response from the public. Well, it said that blood donors no longer need to bring their card, saying that each time they donate blood, the ministry will enter their record without requiring them to have the red book. Well, the government is considering lifting the chicken export ban following the stabilization of the chicken supply in the country apart from production exceeding demand. Well, Deputy Agriculture and Food Industries Minister Dato Sri Ahmad Hamzah expects an announcement on the matter to be made sometime this month. Elaborating further, Dato Sri Ahmad said the ministry has solved whatever public complaints and grievances related to the issue of shortage in chicken and eggs, adding that currently these supplies are in excess. Well, he further explained that currently the self-sufficiency level, or SSL, for chicken is 104%, while the SSL for eggs is 115% and exceeds domestic demand. Dato Sri Ahmad said the matter has been examined at the ministry level after receiving an application from breeders.
Pengumuman setelah permohonan ni dibuat oleh pihak penternak. Sebenarnya kalau yang kita benarkan pun ekspor, hanyalah pada ketika ini adalah ayam coloured chicken, ayam kampung. Dan sebelum ini kita membenarkan ekspor kita 3.6 juta ekor. Kita tak tahu berapa jumlah, sama ada kerajaan benarkan 50% atau berapa peratus kita tak tahu. Tapi kita tunggulah dalam masa yang terdekat ni akan buat pengumuman.
Well, prior to this, the media had reported that the Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation would look into setting a ceiling price for chicken and carry out a study to allow chicken exports again. The Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives, together with the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, or MDEC, remains committed in making sure that people take the opportunity of using digital economy to develop their businesses, especially online. Well, in fact, it can help the local entrepreneurs, including small and medium enterprises, to increase their sales consistently. Its Minister, Tan Sri Noor Omar, said the collaboration between his ministry and MDEC is also in accordance with the aim of spreading awareness about the importance of digital skills among the people, apart from helping expanding their businesses.
Kerana kita lihat di bawah Kuskop juga kita ada program untuk melahirkan usahawan secara talian. Kita melalui Persatuan Penjaja, kita juga ada untuk wanita, dan in fact kita pun ada my mall kita sendiri. Jadi sebenarnya kita faham yang untuk alih berkaitan tadi bahawa mereka memberikan ilmu tapi tak ada memberikan pinjaman. Jadi sebab itu MDEC dengan Kuskop kita akan kerjasama.
Well, Tan Sri Noor said this after officiating the Jelajah #Saya Digital Keluarga Malaysia program organised by MDEC in Shah Alam, Selangor yesterday. Well, the Higher Education Ministry is hoping that a higher allocation would be provided under Budget 2023. Its Minister, Dato Sri Dr. Nuraini Ahmad, said the request was made based on the needs for better infrastructure and continuing the empowerment agenda of public higher education institutions, students as well as graduates.
Dan kami harapkan juga ada bantuan bajet yang diberikan dalam kita nak memperbaiki bangunan-bangunan usang di universiti-universiti awam inilah. Sudah semestinya fokus utama kita adalah daripada golongan pelajar B40, tapi kita juga ada membuat pendekatan untuk juga melihat pelajar daripada golongan M40, M1. Bermaksud M40 tapi golongan yang menghadapi cabaran terutamanya sekarang ni.
Well, the Minister said this after the opening ceremony of 2022 Malaysia Aviation Group Open Day and Career Carnival in Petaling Jaya, Selangor yesterday. Well, for the record, a total of 14.5 billion ringgit was allocated for the ministry under Budget 2022. Well, the Bumiputra community, especially the younger generation and the B40 group, are urged to take full advantage of the various government initiatives to help them owning a home. Well, Deputy Housing and Local Government Minister, Dato Sri Dr. Ismail Abdul Muttalib, said the initiatives include stamp duty exemption for home purchases through the I Miliki program. Well, explaining further, Dato Sri Dr. Ismail said the government is always committed in ensuring that the home ownership quota for the Bumiputra group is always preserved and not neglected. He said the effort is expected to help the Bumiputra community to own a house and subsequently achieve the government's goal of one house for every family.
Supaya masyarakat Bumiputra khususnya di bawah B40 dan juga anak-anak muda yang mungkin baru graduate, baru dapat pekerjaan, supaya mereka memikirkan apakah yang mereka mahu untuk masa depan. Sebab itulah perumahan ini adalah merupakan satu keperluan asas hidup mereka di samping makanan. Jadi kita harap anak-anak muda ini kita sedarkan.
Well, a total of 106 Unity programs are conducted by the National Unity Ministry through Unity Gallery in portraying the unification of keluarga Malaysia. Now, Minister Dato' Halimah Muhammad Sadiqi said the programs would run for 10 days until 9th October this year. Well, Dato' Halimah said the initiative is a result of a strategic collaboration with Aeon Big in order to ignite the spirit of unity and togetherness among the rakyat of various races in the country. The Unity Gallery programs include Rumah Kami exhibition with the concept of racial diversity, as well as Busana Ethnic Keluarga Malaysia performance, which symbolizes the country's cultural and racial identity. She noted that such programs need to be held more often with the cooperation and involvement of many more parties in the future.
Bila kita hubungi pihak Aeon Big ni, Aeon Big membuka tangan, mengatakan bahawa mereka mahu, bukan nak, mahu menjadi rakan strategik kepada Kementerian Perpaduan Negara untuk membantu mempromosikan program-program perpaduan dan integrasi nasional, terutama kepada pelanggan-pelanggan yang menggunakan perkhidmatan yang ditawarkan oleh Aeon Big pada hari ini.
Still to come, Russian troops forced out of key East Ukraine town. Stay with us.
Why do we tell you stories?
Relevant,
New,
efficient,
accurate.
reliable. We bring you extraordinary stories from around the world, from politicians, bankers, and even your favorite celebrities. This and many more on RTM's English News.
The foreign news, well, at least 129 people died at a football stadium in Indonesia last night when fans invaded the pitch and police responded with tear gas, triggering a stampede. Terima FC supporters at the Kanjuruhan Stadium in the eastern city of Malang stormed the pitch after their team lost 3-2 to Persebaya Surabaya, the first loss in more than 2 decades to their bitter rival. Police, who characterized the unrest as riots, tried to persuade fans to return to the stands and fired tear gas into the stands after 2 officers were killed. Many of the victims were trampled to death. East Java Police Chief Niko Afinta said in a statement today, 34 people died inside the stadium and the rest died in hospital. The Indonesian government apologized for the incident and promised to investigate the circumstances surrounding the stampede. Well, Ukraine declared its forces had taken control of the key town of Liman, located in one of the 4 Ukrainian regions that Russia annexed, with President Volodymyr Zelensky pledging more areas would follow within the week. Well, the recapture of Liman, which Moscow's forces pummeled for weeks to control this spring, would mark the first Ukrainian military victory in territory that the Kremlin has claimed as its own and has vowed to defend by all possible means. Well, Ukraine's defense ministry announced its forces were entering Liman in the eastern Donetsk region after the army said it had encircled several thousand Russian troops near the town. Now, the ministry posted a video of soldiers holding up a yellow and blue Ukrainian flag near a sign with the town's name. Well, shortly after Ukraine's announcement on Liman, Russia's defense ministry said it had withdrawn troops from the town to more favorable lines. Now, the 4 annexed territories create a crucial land corridor between Russia and the Crimean Peninsula, annexed by Moscow in 2014. Together, the 5 regions make up around 20% of Ukraine, where Kyiv in recent weeks has been clawing back territory. Well, scuffles broke out between protesters and security forces, injuring dozens as thousands gathered in Iraqi cities to mark 3 years since nationwide demonstrations erupted against endemic corruption. Well, thousands demonstrated in Baghdad's iconic Tahrir Square, the epicenter of the protest movement, with many brandished portraits of those killed in the wave of rallies 3 years ago. They gathered at Al-Jumhuriyah Bridge, where they attempted to overcome a series of barriers set up by security forces to block access to the fortified green zone that houses government buildings and diplomatic missions. Well, according to an Interior Ministry official, protesters threw the iron barriers into the river, and 18 minor injuries were reported among riot police, resulting from stones and glass bottles being thrown at them. Well, police retaliated by throwing smoke grenades at the crowd to disperse them before at least 36 protesters required medical attention, most for breathing difficulties. The demonstrations seek to revive the protests of October 2019 that condemned rampant unemployment and the country's decaying infrastructure. Well, those protests raged for months before winding down under the shadow of coronavirus restrictions and a crackdown that saw at least 600 demonstrators killed and tens of thousands more wounded. Well, meanwhile, in London, protesters rallied over the cost of living crisis as the ruling Conservatives geared up for their annual conference, insisting their debt fuel tax slashing plans were credible. Well, thousands of demonstrators aligned with various causes and organizations, including environmentalists, Extinction Rebellion, blocked roads and bridges in London. Well, some of them burned mock energy statements as huge price increases to electricity and gas bills came into effect at midnight on Friday. Now, the government has capped the rise at roughly 27% for the next 2 years, following several previous dramatic spikes over the last year. The protesters also turned out in Birmingham to rally against the handling of the situation by the ruling Tories, who kick off their annual conference in the central English city today. Well, the tax slashing plans, which will dramatically increase government borrowing, went further than many expected, abolishing the top rate of income tax and lifting a cap on bankers' bonuses. Well, shocked Florida communities counted their dead yesterday as the full scale of the devastation came into focus 2 days after Hurricane Ian tore into the coastline as one of the most powerful storms ever to hit the United States. Well, rescuers were still searching for survivors in flooded neighborhoods and along the state's southwest coast, where homes, restaurants and businesses were ripped apart as Ian roared ashore as a powerful Category 4 hurricane on Wednesday. Well, according to the Florida Medical Examiners Commission, the death toll climbed to 24 yesterday, with some U.S. media reporting it could be there 3 times the number. Well, the U.S. Coast Guard said 16 migrants also remain missing from a boat that sank during the hurricane. Now, 2 people were found dead and 9 others rescued, including 4 Cubans who swam to shore in the Florida Keys. Now, more than 1.2 million customers remained without power in Florida yesterday, hampering efforts by those who evacuated to return to their homes to take stock of what they lost. CareLogic, a firm that specializes in property analysis, said wind-related losses for residential and commercial properties in Florida could cost insurers up to $32 billion, while flooding losses could reach $15 billion. JDT crowned Super League champs for the 9th time. That and more coming up right after this short break. That was a short break. Now, Johor Darul Takzim, or JDT, clinched the Super League crown for the 9th straight time with 4 matches to spare and setting a record in domestic football that will be hard for other teams to emulate. Well, the Southern Tigers, coached by Hector Bidolgo, did it in style too by hammering Negeri Sembilan 5-0 at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Putri last night. Well, by winning the 2022 league title, the Southern Tigers earn an automatic spot in next season's Asian Football Confederation, or AFC, Champions League, giving them a chance to try and do better than this season, having lost in the knockout round. In last night's action, JDT took a comfortable 2-0 first-half lead with a 2-minute blitz by younger winger Arif Aiman, Mohamed Hanapi and Leandro Velasquez. Arif Aiman added his second and his team's third 3 minutes after the break. Not wanting to be left out, Brazilian import Berson da Silva then exploded with 2 goals in the 60th and 88th minutes to be the leading hitman with 24 goals. And teammate Fernando Forestieri is second with 13 goals. Well, JDT, who now have 46 points from 18 matches, cannot be caught by Sabah, who have 36 points, but with just 3 matches left to play. Meanwhile, JDT closest challenges. Sabah FC went down 2-0 to Terengganu at the Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium in Kuala Nerus. A Pape Diakite goal in the 7th minute and another by Nik Sharif Hazali Lazim in the 30th minute ensured Terengganu take home all 3 points and condemn Sabah to their 4th straight loss. Well, meanwhile, the presence of former national coach Tan Cheng Ho with Selangor FC seemed to have the expected impact as the Red Giants, who have been having a yo-yo season, carved out a stylish 5-0 win over Malacca United at the Petaling Jaya City Council Stadium. The Red Giants got their goals through Nur Hakim Hassan in the 16th minute, Muhammad Bukhairi, Ajmal Mahadi in the 32nd minute, Brandon Gan in the 66th and 78th minutes, and Perlisin Kaon in the 90th minute. Well, national teenage rider Muhammad Hakim Danish Ramli has found his winning touch again after dominating race 1 in the 4th round of the 2022 Asia Talent Cup or ATC at the Chang International Circuit in Thailand. Now, the win allowed Muhammad Hakim to reclaim the overall top spot with 117 points, with Japan's Shinya Izawa 106 points in second spot and Qatar's Hamad Al-Sahouthi in third place with just 73 points. The 15-year-old Muhammad Hakim bounced back from finishing third in round 3 in Japan last week to claim top spot today after clocking the fastest time of 29 minutes and 0.1585 seconds. The Terengganu lad rode superbly to come out tops in the 16-lap race, with Indonesia's Veda Iga Pratama coming in second and Japan's Gunmei third. Well, for the record, Muhammad Hakim won both races in round 2 at the Mandalika International Street Circuit in Indonesia in March after failing to get on the podium in round 1 at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar in February. Muhammad Hakim will be in action again in race 2 in Thailand today. It's football, and Kylian Mbappe came off the bench to score the winning goal as Paris Saint-Germain defeated Nice 2-1 to reclaim top spot in Ligue 1. Now, Mbappe was replaced 20-year-old Hugo Ekitike, who was making his first start for PSG but struggled to make an impact. In tennis, Novak Djokovic said he felt quite emotional after reaching his 4th final of the 2022 on Saturday with a straight sets win over Roman Safiullin in the Tel Aviv semi-finals. Well, the 35-year-old Djokovic triumphed 6-1, 7-6 and will look to win his 3rd title of the season and 89th of his career when he tackles Croatian's Marin Cilic in Sunday's final. Well, former world number 1 Djokovic raced to a 5-love lead on his way to capturing the opening set in just 23 minutes without facing a breakpoint. However, Safiullin, the world number 104, bidding to make an ATP final for the first time, was far more competitive in the second set. Well, he had 2 breakpoints, which Djokovic saved in the 6th game, and the 25-year-old Russian was made to pay when the 21-time Grand Slam winner broke for a 5-4 lead. Sefalin battled back to 6-all before Djokovic swept through the tiebreaker, securing victory after 94 minutes on court. Well, Djokovic, who has titles in Rome and at Wimbledon this year, is currently 7th in the rankings, and as a Grand Slam winner only needs a finish in the top 20 to guarantee a place in the ATP Finals. Meanwhile, former US Open champion Cilic defeated 68th ranked Costa Lecce of France 7-5, 6-3 in his semi-final. Cilic, seeded second behind Djokovic, trailed the unseeded Lecce 1-3 and then 2-5 in the opening set before saving 2 set points and winning 5 straight games to take the set 7-5. The second set was far more straightforward for Cilic, breaking to lead 4-3, and then again 2 games later to wrap up the match after 1 hour 45 minutes of play. In Bulgaria, Jannik Sinner was forced to retire from his ATP 250 Sofia Open semi-final against Holger Rune after twisting his ankle in a heavy fall. Now, the match had been evenly poised, with top seed Sinner taking the opening set 7-5 and 19-year-old fifth seed Rune coming back to take the second 6-4. But Rune broke serve in the opening game of the third set, but as he led 3-2, love 15, Sinner turned his right ankle and crashed to the ground. Well, after receiving treatment, he was able to continue, but after dropping his serve again, the trail 2-5, he decided to concede the match. But Rune will face Switzerland's Marc-André Hösler in Sunday's final after the unseeded world numbers 95 defeated fourth-seeded Italian Lorenzo Musetti 7-6, 7-5. Well, that ends updates at noon. Wrapping up with a reminder of our top story, the MOH to improve health incentives for blood donors. Well, tune into News at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. on Saluran Berita RTM. And we leave you with a footage of over 600 hot air balloons flying at Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta in New Mexico. Till then, I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a nice weekend.